Hey guys, I'm gonna try and make filming on this couch work. We'll see how it goes because the camera is farther away than normal. But this is going to be a review of Shadowhunters Season 3, Episode 16. There were about 9 months where I didn't review Shadowhunters, which is probably unsurprising at this point. It's been a while since Season 3 ended, and I still plan on getting through them all. The last video review that I did 9 months ago was for episode 14 of season 3, and more recently I wrote a blog post about episode 15, so I'll link that in the description. And so today I'm going to talk about episode 16. And then I only have 6 more episodes to get through and I'll have talked about all of them. So I promise that I will actually finish all of them. At the end of the last episode, Magnus collapsed from using magic and he had like a bad nosebleed and was coughing up blood, and it was very terrible to watch. But this episode starts with Magnus being unconscious and he has a dream, and in the dream him and Alec are like ballroom dancing, and I'm sorry, but it's just so hilarious to watch. Like, on one hand, you know how the last episode ended, and I know what happens in the future, so I guess that makes Magnus's situation less scary in a sense, because I know it turns out okay, but just, like, the idea of Alec dancing is so bizarre to me because of his personality and what he's like, that I just can't, like, I know it's a dream, but it's just really hard to take that scene seriously. So Katerina comes to check on Magnus, and she says that his body is rejecting Lorenzo's magic, and so he has to get rid of Lorenzo's magic in order to get better. But that means that Lorenzo has to take his magic back, so they will have to get him to agree to that. And then similarly, also in this episode, Clary and Jace go to the Silent Brothers to see if the Silent Brothers can sever Clary's bond with Jonathan, and they can't. They're not able to do it. And I've watched this episode several times at this point without actually reviewing it, but this time around was the first time that I realized that those situations are kind of similar. There are some parallels there, which I thought was interesting. Once Magnus wakes up, he's really upset about having to lose his magic for a second time, and he asks Alec how he can love him when he doesn't have his magic, which is probably like one of the most heartbreaking scenes in this episode. Like, just that whole storyline is very sad. Clary is kind of desperate to separate herself from Jonathan, so Clary, Jace, Izzy, and Simon decide that they're going to get Cain to help them summon Lilith and sever the bond. It was interesting to see Cain again because I didn't expect to see him after the last episode he was in. Jonathan also goes to the Seelie Queen and makes a deal with her, which was unsurprising, less surprising than Cain coming back, because the Jonathan and the Seelie Queen do make a pact in the books too, so kind of saw that coming. But he promises the Seelie Queen that he will kill Lilith, and he ends up going back to Edom in order to do that. A little bit of a more lighthearted scene, kind of. We see Maris going to visit Luke in jail, and she brings him a book to read and tells him that she's bought the bookshop, and I love this so much. Like, Maris and Luke's relationship was something that really surprised me because it kind of came out of nowhere. Like, it's not in the books at all, and I definitely didn't expect it to happen before it started happening in the show. But, like, I'm very pleasantly surprised by it, but, like, it just works well in the show. And it's exciting to see Maris find something to do now that she's been de-runed and is a mundane, she was trained her whole entire life to be a shadow hunter, and now she's not a shadow hunter anymore. So I can imagine how difficult it is to figure out what to do with yourself after that. So it's nice to see her find something with the bookshop. Simon and Izzy also make a promise with each other to stay single for life in this episode, which is hilarious because you just, like, no spoilers for what happens, but I feel like it's pretty obvious when they make that pact that that's not going to happen. When they do summon Lilith, Lilith ends up manipulating Cain and getting him to help her, which is so frustrating to watch because it's just like, you know, everything that happened with Cain, and Lilith is a huge part of the reason why he's suffered so much, and here's this chance, like thousands of years later, well, more than thousands, I don't know how long it's supposed to have been, but he has a chance to actually, like, do something good and kind of right the wrong in a way, and it just fails miserably. And on one hand, I get it because, like, Cain is kind of an archetypal figure, and so it fits that he would still give into that weakness and stuff, but also it's just really frustrating to watch it happen. But Clary is able to overcome the rune and trap Jonathan, so Jonathan is finally at the Institute. They chain him up and stuff so he can't escape, and that was great because when she first sent him wherever he went, we didn't know at the time, I was worried that she had helped him, and Jace is worried about that too in the episode. So it was a relief to see that she had actually sent him to the Institute. So I guess that was nice after Cain giving into Lilith. It was nice to see Clary do that. Towards the end of the episode, a member from the leader, I guess, of the Praetor Lupus comes to the prison and tells Luke that they've cleared his record somehow, and he will be a member of the Praetor now. He's kind of told that. It's not really a decision. It's all very ominous how it plays out, I think. But I will talk more about how I feel about Luke's relationship with the Praetor in the future episodes when we see more of him working for them. And the episode ends with Alec going to talk to Maris and asking for the family ring because he wants to propose to Magnus, which is exciting, but also kind of like, I know what happens, so I don't want to say too much about this because I know spoilers, but it's just like everything with Magnus's storyline has been really upsetting recently because of him losing his magic, and this is like a nice scene, but because of like Magnus's emotional state, it's also kind of ominous in a way. But I'll talk more about it in my review for the next episode, which I've already rewatched. And also, Maya wasn't in this episode, and I don't think she was in the next episode that I've watched either, which makes me really sad. So I can't remember when we get to see her again, but hopefully it's soon. I will see you guys later. Bye.